Welcome. We're going to be talking about the twin flame and the allure of twins, TwinRay, twin flames. I'm not going to be talking about meta flames because meta flames are not in our realm. They are not a match to 3D. And when they come, they come into a mission that is specific. It is temporary because it is such a dense energy, 3D, that they cannot stay. And they usually come as a walk-in. So people telling you they're meta flames, they're full of shit. Unless they're a walk-in. At which point they would tell you that too. With that said, we're going to be talking about the sexual energy of twins and what happens when you are either in the public eye as twins or not. Now, you may not agree with me. You may look at the surface of what people look like, but in real life, not behind a camera or phone or video. But when you meet a twin with their counterpart, their beloved, in real life, they exude sexual potency and energy. They are charismatic, magnetic, attractive to the opposite sex. Twins in union create a very intense energy, usually whether they've just had sex with each other or they have a wonderful, robust energy together in bed, in nature, wherever. And that energy is like a pheromone. There's a power to it. There's a beauty to it. And women, and I'm going to go with women first. I will go with women first. So if you want to talk about gender wars with me, you're on the wrong live because I'm not playing that. When women see a man who is in a twin journey, a woman who is broken, who has the emotional IQ of a little girl, she is going to look at that twin masculine and want him. And she will pursue him. Now here comes the problem. If your twin is a flame or a kindergarten level ray, barely there, and he could actually regress back to flame, let me tell you. And his ego needs the adulation of a little girl, wants and feels that this recognition is robust enough to give him a sense of self-worth, and goes for the okie-doke, goes for the attention of this feminine energy or feminine energies, then he is going through a regression, a massive regression, which will cause his divine counterpart, his divine feminine twin, to literally fall into despair. She may deal with the shadows of jealousy, unrequited attention and love and focus, not being a priority. And men, yes, men, I've been a man many, many times. That's why I'm a woman in this incarnation, to right the wrongs of the shit I pushed and pulled on women in my past incarnations. There's no gender bullshit here with me. But with men who deal with the Playboy Club toxic mentality, porno, Instagram model, who deal with the Playboy Club toxic mentality, porno, Instagram model, only problems, because you've got men, for the most part, who connect their worth by the female gaze and attention. It is a fact. Do women do that too? Yes, but we're talking about men right now. Because when the average twin feminine is massively loyal, massively. And that's why we're talking about the masculine twin and not the feminine twin today. So when the feminine twin is realizing that her masculine twin is now more attractive. Why is he more attractive? Well, because he's in union with his twin feminine. That's the irony. The irony is now you're very attractive to the opposite sex or same sex. And you love this attention because you are a flame. You still are dealing with your shit, you know, your lack of self-worth, your lack of bolstering your own self by your own emotional and spiritual bootstrap. And yet you're not realizing that this is an illusion meant to distract you, to lower your frequency back to 3D. And I had a client come to me and talk to me about this today. And the image that I got, and this is, yes, it gets spiritual, it gets very deeply spiritual, is when Yeshua spent 40 nights in the desert, I believe, and Buddha spent 40 nights in the forest, in the woods. And we'll use the word devil for a minute, just for the purpose of this conversation. And so a demonic, egoic energy, you can call it Maya, if you prefer that term, Maya, came to these holy men or these divine masculines and brought them the distractions during their 40 days of fasting and meditation, the distractions and the allure of beautiful women, wealth, fame, comfort, the false nectars that the 3D world offers. And it was interesting that in both stories, women were brought, beautiful women, to lure them out of their meditations, to lure them out of their high dimensional frequency. It is no different today with what divine masculines are dealing with. And though I'm not going to go into the Jezebel theory because that's not the conversation today. It's not about the black cat or the golden retriever. It's not about any of that shit. It's about men who are in union with their divine counterparts, sitting down and getting real honest about who owns their dick. And I'm being vulgar on purpose. Because if you don't own your dick, then someone else does. And the question is who? Is it the 1% using porn and all of these other aspects to lure men out from their root chakra entirely, leading them by their root chakra, which is all about ego? This is a big, big fucking deal. Because addiction comes in many forms. It isn't just the obvious bottle of wine or scotch and the pot and the drugs and whatever, illicit or legal, okay? Addiction isn't just gambling. Addiction is wanting attention, wanting to get the score, that girl in your bed, or being able to, and then at the last minute backing away because maybe you really do not, as a man, want to completely destroy your connection with your divine feminine. So you don't, but you take it in, you take on that energy because it feeds your ego. Why do you think I don't say that we were chosen? I say we volunteered because we did. Why do you think I don't say gifts? I say tool skill sets. Because the last thing I want to do or teach you is to feed your ego. Because the ego is ravenous. It is an abyss. It can never be fed. It can never actually feel fed. And so when twins are in union, they are absolutely magnetic and charismatic, and people want that. There are women out there who want, and I know this for a fact because I've worked what I call street tarot when I was a kid, doing readings on women that blew my mind in their complete lack of integrity. Getting a married man, getting a taken man was a score. You're just a notch on her tool belt. And to get a man who is a divine counterpart, a beautiful, high-frequency male, especially in the spiritual community, there are multiple reasons for that goal to be had. Because there's jealousy. When me and my twin would go out, we were magnetic and charismatic. People turned heads, and we weren't the most gorgeous. Trust me, we were older, much older. When we were in our when we first met, I could have seen it being our physical beauty. But in our 50s and 60s, no, it was not. It was something else. It was a potent, sexual, sensual link, bond, and it was a bond. And people wanted a piece of that. And they would have been very happy to see us break up. To give you an example. There are people, men and women, who will look at a divine couple and it will trigger the fuck out of them with jealousy, with envy, and with the desire to test it out. And to take a woman like that, for example, a man wanting to take that woman who is devout to her man, is a score. This is why the movie Dangerous Liaison with Michelle Pfeiffer and John Malkovich and Uma Thurman is such a compelling movie based on the book written in the 18th century, 1700, 18th century is when it was written. Because to take someone who is untouchable, see, it's one thing to be hot and anyone can have you with the right price. Who gives a fuck? You're not anything anyone wants. Because anyone can have you. But when you're faced with a woman and a man who are beautiful in just them being together, like it's honestly, when I see people like that, it brings tears to my eyes of gratitude. I've gone through it. I've lived that. So I don't envy any of that because I've lived that. And I know what it does to women and to men who have never, ever, ever experienced that, and never will, by the way, never will. And so when a man allows his ego to infringe and to corrupt his connection with his divine feminine, he's fucking up. You can reverse the roles. He's fucking up badly. He has to make sure there are boundaries. And the boundaries has to be tight. And and this is the advice I gave my divine feminine, if a man is, flirting with you, right? I'm not kidding. Flirting. Oh, it's just a flirt. No, flirting. Knowing that you are with your man. And you say, no, thank you, and continues. Then you hand his ass over to your man. Let your man handle the business of telling this guy to fuck off. And again, reverse roles. If a man is being, pursued by a woman or women, and the fact that they know you're taken, one, isn't enough to dissuade it, but two, they continue and they send you nude pictures, which is what women do on that level of consciousness. This is what they do. It's time for you to turn over that information to your divine feminine to handle that business. And if the woman doesn't believe it or the man doesn't believe it, in other words, if those people pursuing you don't believe, then do a fucking three-way call or some kind of message that has you both on the fucking phone, leaving them voicemail, telling them in no uncertain terms to fuck the fuck off. And if you're not prepared to do that because your ego is more involved with caring about what that person is going to think about you, you better check your ass in the mirror and find out what the hell's wrong with you. Because the most important ego you want to protect is your divine counterpart, male or female, your twin. They are the most important soul. They have been with you through millions of incarnations, millions of experiences, hundreds of millions. And they outrank anyone that comes at you that's attracted to your power, to your sensuality, to the charisma of your union. And until people understand that, you're going to have a runner chaser, divide and conquer. The fuckery will never end. And the only reason why the only counterpart I can give you, the only reason why the only counterpart I can give you are the only two that I can give you that were in divine union, and nothing separated them. Read the Gnostic Gospel. We just finished reading that in the Esoteric Book Club, and it was an eye-opener as to how the power, hungry avarice of that culture, of that part of the world, which was replicated all over the world, by the way, wanted to oppress and suppress women to do the gender wars that we still see today, and who really did not want to see a balance feminine and masculine. It goes all the way back to Lilith and Adam. It goes all the way back and probably beyond. But we don't remember the names or the stories anymore, because I'm sure the Catholic Church was very happy to burn a lot of the shit, or maybe it's in their vaults, who knows. But the point is, that's the only example I can give you of a divine twin ray, meta flame, or meta ray, more accurate actually, not flame, because flame is about burning karma and burning bullshit, and ray is about the light, being in the light. And so that's going to be really important for the masculine to get his dick holstered and his ego holstered, because it's connected to what's between his legs. And that is a problem. And I'm sorry if I'm being vulgar, but I'm being vulgar so that if you actually share this with one of your divine counterparts, he can fucking listen to my shit, because this is real. This is not a joke. It's one thing to put a divine feminine on the pedestal. It's another to sexualize it to the point where she is just that, your desire for the conquering, the conquest. And in conquering her, or in you being approached by her and pursued by her, your ego is actually momentarily given a hit of oxytocin, I guess. Whatever the hell it feeds in your brain centers. And your brain, the monkey mind, is such... It's such a... How do I put this without... There's an intense density to this brain that we have to filter all of our spiritual know-how and power through. We literally have to filter through this density of the monkey mind. The monkey just going back and forth and constantly like wanting to be distracted by this and that and the other. And it is the ego that it no longer understands or wants to understand that these simple, what many would call, but I'm just doing a thing with this girl. It doesn't mean anything. She's in Idaho and I'm in Texas. Well, let me tell you something. I'm not going to say who it is, but there's a very, very, very spiritual, a masculine spiritualist, and he's not on TikTok at all. I followed him for a long time. He was married. He had children. He was great. I thought he was a divine masculine. And he started doing a lot of lives, duetting with this woman, I think out of Greece. Beautiful woman. His wife was beautiful. The marriage did not survive because there was no reason to duet with that woman. He should have been duetting with his wife, who's equally spiritually aware and powerful. In fact, she was helping him with his spiritual business. But he was lying to himself. By the way, they're still duetting, and they might be lovers, but they're not living together. So it was all about sex. It was all about he got his ego fed, she got her ego fed, and they're still feeding each other egos, and yet they're doing spiritual duets. Like, I don't trust that, because it was never a twin situation. In other words, if it was a twin, they'd be living together. They'd be doing this work together. They would have left a toxic marriage, right? Him, let's assume. And they would have been in union, on screen, together, for years to come, right? But no, the duet continues from different parts of the world. So it was about sex, and it destroyed his marriage. I saw it. And when I saw it, I stopped following him, because I thought, if he can't get that shit between his legs holstered, then he's not someone I want to follow or listen to, because he doesn't even have enough discernment to understand what was going on. If it was twin, trust me, they would be together right now as we speak. They would be actually building a life together, doing their mission together, but they're not. And it's been 3 years. So that's the problem that masculines and feminines don't understand. And when a feminine comes to the masculine to say, I'm really being triggered by this, I don't want you to do duets. Like, let's say you're starting to do your mission as twins, right? You're going to go into the public eye, and you're going to reveal who you are, and you're going to help coach people, and you're going to help heal them. But you're going to duet with other fucking bimbos? What the fuck are you doing? Why are you doing that? And you might say, well, Tony, that's really outdated shit. No, it's not. No, it's fucking not. The main female in your life, and you got to make a decision, is either your divine counterpart or be polyamorous, spiritually, emotionally, and physically. Be fucking honest. Leave then at that point your twin alone. Be honest. I can't be that man that can only be your divine counterpart. Well, the question I have for you is why not? Why not? You can have definitely female energies around you. Don't get me wrong. I'm not going to put you, or I'm not asking males to put themselves in a box. They're females. But understand that the minute it gets sexual, and don't bullshit yourself, and don't you dare bullshit your divine counterpart, because if she comes to you and says, I'm feeling sexual energy between each other, then you better sit down and face this and not gaslight the only soul that is your own self, incarnated in a separate body. Don't lie to yourself, because when you lie to yourself, you're lying to your twin. And when you do that, you're harming your twin. Gaslighting is a massive, big spiritual fucking no-no. And if you gaslight yourself, again, you're being too much in your ego. If she comes to you and says, or if he comes to you and says, I'm feeling a lot of, like you're getting too flirty, it's getting a little weird here. Like, I feel like you're not handling the business on a business. You can be polite, you can be, jovial, joking, like siblings. But once it crosses the line into flirtation, we have a problem, Houston. We have a problem. And that is a reality that most people don't want to talk about. And I've seen too many Buddha bun wearing dudes, right? And bindi wearing chicks with their little bohemian skirts acting like, this is too much, that this is old ways, and that this is not, how it should be, that it has to be kumbaya. Well, let me put it this way to you. Until the whole planet has a proper understanding of integrity and boundaries in realizing and protecting divine couples in their union. In other words, protecting them. Not pursuing them for their own, egoic feeding frenzy, but protecting these divine couples from outside forces. Until we're there as a society and we look at these beautiful couples like what Yeshua and Mary Magdalene never had. They were never protected. They were always being judged and denigrated and disbelieved, to the point where that's how it showed up on the Bible. And we had to uncover, and in 1947 they found the Dead Sea Scrolls. And why would people hide ancient scrolls? Why would they bury them in jars and caves if they weren't being hunted down like dogs? Because for whatever reason, this was considered dangerous to talk about a divine couple. So it's not like we don't have a blueprint of what that looks like when divine couples are attacked out of jealousy. So moving forward, this is really a public service notice to the divine masculine, who really needs to fucking grow the fuck up. Because my experience with all of my feminine twins, I don't have to tell you this because you already know this. I'm sorry. Okay? You are devoted. If you're not with your twin, you're fucking celibate. You're like a fucking high priestess nun. You're not fucking anyone. Some of you masculines are the same, but not enough. And many of these wonderful masculines who are very similar to that in terms of they can't be with anyone else except for their twin, are going through a massive healing journey of releasing a lot of pain, a lot of they're going through massive realizations of what their self-worth, who owned it, because it wasn't them. So the boardroom jokes, the locker room talk, the you can be in a very strict religious upbringing, but the hurricane effect of how men see women and how we are sexualized from a very inappropriately young age, and how men have been taught that that's normal to lure and ogle, and how when a woman who's like 25 is pursuing a 50-year-old man, and this man doesn't have enough brains to realize that maybe she has daddy issues and maybe he should be a mentor and not her lover, because those relationships do not last. I'm not talking about twins now. I'm talking about just bare facts on the streets. Twins have those dynamics as well, but they last. When men decide that you are jealous and that you are too controlling, they're not honoring your pain, and they're not honoring your concerns that this is not appropriate, and that you're opening the door to every Jane and Jesse coming through the door. You're basically giving the message out that though you're in a twin flame, or rarely do twin rays do this, by the way. It's rare. When they do this as rays is because they're still, like I said, in the kindergarten level, and one of the rays is on a lower frequency, and it's still deeply still in their ego. But the reason why they're rays is because they're fully aware of each other, and they're trying to keep a lot of the fuckery at bay. But then, boom, here comes power, fame, money, of doing this work publicly, of ascension talk, and suddenly you've got chicks looking up at you with adoration, and you're eating up like cake, and you need to fucking slap your ego down and go, what the fuck is wrong with you? I made an analogy last time in my last live, because I was telling a friend of mine, sometimes I come off really, really rough, but I said to her, the Shaolin Masters, because I was being trained as a Shaolin was in one of my incarnations. I mean, I remember. But I didn't say it that way. I said to her, I know the Shaolin Masters would cuff you in the head and go, what the fuck are you doing? Like, go up that mountain, go running up that mountain 10 times. Then ask the question again. Or ask a different question. You're asking the wrong question. So when I come off rough, it's not because I'm angry. It's because I need you to hear the severity of my tone when I say this to you, because you're not going to fucking make it if you're not listening to the common sense aspect of what I'm saying. That is not my wisdom. It is ancient wisdom. It's common fucking sense. As long as you need to have your ego stroked, you're fucked. Period. If the gaze of a pretty young woman has you combobulated, you're owned. You don't own yourself, and you should always own yourself. And if you are lucky to be in a divine union connection, then you should really ask yourself, how am I failing myself and my divine counterpart? How am I failing? And why is this so important to me? And there's something that is a problem with the human. And by the way, one of my very good friends is a masculine, a divine masculine. He's my younger brother, right? Very cool guy. And we talk about this shit. Because it's important to spiritually, on a frequency level, start creating a domino effect of shift in consciousness on this very subject. Because you can be with a very spiritual man, very, very spiritual, and then they'll start acting and treating you like you're a fucking idiot for demanding that his eyes are on you, just like your eyes are on him. Oh, that's really codependent, Tony. No, it's called fucking respect. You're either with me or get the fuck out of my way so I can move on into my journey. I don't need to think about this. I need to know you have my back and I have yours. We are not going to win unless we are 100% behind each other. If any distraction comes in, you tell me and I tell you. It is not we against the world. It's we looking to transform the world. The world is not my enemy. It is not yours either. And this is something really, really important, because I'll see guys like, I'm fucking saying it, Moji and Sadhguru and women, I see them, these young girls, and some in their 30s and 40s, sitting, shaking, their throat chakra stuck in shame, saying, my boyfriend is saying he can't commit to me, and I really need a monogamous relationship, and I don't know, and he's telling me I'm too codependent and too jealous. And what do these men do before they answer? They fucking giggle. Like they know something you don't. They giggle as if to say, poor little girl, you're such a bimbo. But I'll answer your question. Spiritual mansplaining is a real thing. And so what happens is when your masculine twin listens to these answers, they now have been told that they are correct in telling you to go within yourself and deal with your jealousies. Should you deal with your jealousies? Of course. Should you deal with your sense of comparing yourself to other competitions in your mind? Of course. But if your man is making you jealous, then we got problems. If your woman is making you jealous, then we have problems, because the only people that should be jealous, if you're really playing your cards right, is the people looking at both of you going, I wish I had that. May this love kidnap me. That's what you want. But you definitely do not want a man who claims to be your twin, or a woman who claims to be your twin, to actually allow other people to step their dirty feet all over your heart chakras and destroying something that is very fragile and very precious at this point right now in our timeline. We have never been so close to being union. All of us. And yet, the fuckery of society, the 1%, is really got its strong hold on many of your chakras. I've graduated. I don't give a fuck. I'm good. Thank you. But this is for you. My twin and I had to go through everything I've described. We went through it. And we graduated out of that fuckery. And I want you to have that in your lifetime. I want as many of you to come into union. As many of you. Because the more twins, the more powerful. It is like a stellar group of powerful divine couples that are invincible and that will destroy the 3D. And the people that fucking have controlled it, and sentient beings who have controlled this frequency for thousands of years. For their own agendas, for their own avarice. So I definitely do want you to fucking win. Trust me. Because the domino effect impacts this lineage I embody today, and the lineage I've embodied in past incarnations on this planet and other planets. It's a big fucking deal what I'm telling you. Take it seriously. Don't be ashamed to share that with your man. Let your man wake the fuck up, my friend. Because either you own your dick or someone else does. It's that simple. And if you don't get that, if your ego is that linked to your root chakra, then you are completely going to loop again and again in this perpetual mess called the 3D level of consciousness. And you'll be 4D, meaning you'll know shit, but you'll never be 5D, I'll tell you that. It's just common sense. Anyway, I want to thank you. I'm going to go. I'm exhausted anyway, but I wanted to share this with you. It felt very, very important for me to share this with you. So if you missed this, you can go on my YouTube channel. As a matter of fact, we could lose YouTube, TikTok once again. So please go onto my YouTube channel. It's on my profile page. I will upload this video. I want you to share with as many people as you can who are playing this game. It's a no sum. You're not going to win this game unless you walk with integrity, where you put your ego to the side, or you train it to be a servant to your soul. But if you don't do these steps, I don't care what gender you are, you're not going to win this. You're going to lose, and you'll be back. So make sure that you realize that this incarnation is all in. You're all fucking in. Both feet are in. If you are now connected to your divine counterpart, you're all in. Both feet. Your heart completely open. You're here to win. And you ask, do you want to win? I want to win. Great, let's do this. And you do not let people come in who have their own fucking agendas, their own avarice, their own jealousies, their own needy. Those are the codependent motherfuckers you need to be afraid of. Okay? That's it. That's that. Much love to you. And I'll upload this in a few hours. Namaste. Be well.